prayer works, basically the science behind it. So this is a metaphysical class. I will be going through the physical, energetic, and spiritual frameworks that actually make prayer work. Hey, Anessa. Oh, good. Yay. Ace. Back that up a little bit so y'all can see the whole board a little bit. I am going to go over the class rules first. Hold on. Ace, do you mind if I make you a moderator for tonight? Kick anybody out who is disrespectful. No warnings. Just do it as soon as they say something out the way. Okay. Okay. I think I did it. Yep, it went through. Good. So, I gotta find my pointer. Hold on just a second. I lose it all the time. I don't know why I don't put it back in its place. We'll use an incense this time because I don't know where my pointer is. Okay, so I'm going to read the class rules and then we're going to get into the actual class. If you have not downloaded the student companion flyers, they are on my TikTok page. I will walk you through it. I have not uploaded the student companion yet to my website, but as soon as I get done with this live, I have one more section that I really need to edit. I haven't edited it yet, and then I will post it tonight. So y'all will get the student companion tonight. Just a second. For everybody who just came in, how are you doing? Hey, Reggie. I just saw you come in. Okay, so if you go to my page and you go to this last thing right here, I'm getting a bunch of messages. That right there. You will click the three dots that are over here. He picks it up for you and carries you and the cross. And then you're going to select download. And when you select download, it's going to pop up with all the photos. You select all the photos that you want to download. That way you can go along with the flyers, because I only put a little bit of information on the board, but most of the information. Hey, Lene, welcome. But download these. The enforcer is in here, so I'm about to go over the rules. And select them all and download. So once class is over, I'm going to upload the student companion to my website. The student companion is basically everything that I'm going to go over on live, plus like a lot more. It's 51 pages of information and it's free. You don't have to pay for it. You're going to, you're going to go to my link tree that's in my bio. If I can do what the hell I'm trying to do. I'm pushing everything but what I need to. Okay. So you're going to come to my link tree and you're going to scroll, and it's now the second link. That big link right there is my website. You're going to click that. You're going to go to my website. And this is after class. I'll probably give me an hour after I end the live to actually edit the last section of the student companion, and then I'll post it. You're going to click the menu bar up here. Right there. Once you click that, this is going to pop up, and you're going to go to free PDF downloads. That's going to pull up all of the class materials from all the previous classes. And then when you scroll, you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And you're going to download the last one that's going to be on there after the class is over. I have to upload it. I haven't uploaded it yet. But it will be done tonight because I actually finished it. I just need to finish editing it. So let's go to the class rules real quick. We're going to go over the class rules and then we're going to get started. This is a short class because it's pretty much self-explanatory. That's why this student companion is only 51 pages and my other ones are always maybe 90 and up. 90 to 120, I think, is the longest one I've ever done. Let me find my class rules real quick. Oh, here it is. I was about to say I might have accidentally deleted them out of my notepad. So, before we get started, I want to lay out a few ground rules to keep the space respectful, open, and focused on learning. Please note that this class is designed for beginners, so everything will be explained in a clear and accessible way. Advanced questions are welcome, but I ask that we honor the pace of the room. Rule number 1, this is based on my experience. So everything I'm sharing comes from my personal journey, my studies, my mentors, my retreats, and my own research. Take what resonates with you and what doesn't, leave it where it is. Number 2, respect different perspectives. Everyone's spiritual path is unique. What works for one person may not work for another, and that is okay. This is a space for learning, not debating or invalidating someone else's beliefs. Number 3, keep the chat positive and respectful. Disrespect, negativity, or trolling won't be tolerated. If you can't engage with an open mind, this may not be the space for you. Number 4, no unsolicited advice or corrections. Unless I ask for input, please allow me to teach without interruptions or what you would consider corrections. If you have a different approach, that is beautiful. This class is centered around what works for me. These are literally my theories. The only exception to that rule is at the end of the live. You can argue with me. You can tell me your opinion. You can even correct me on things. I just ask that you don't do it during the class because it becomes a distraction. Number 5, no gatekeeping or one right way of thinking. Spiritual work is diverse and traditions vary. There is no single correct way to do anything. Only what is true and effective for you. So that means if somebody posts something in the chat, don't try to correct them. Leave them alone. Hey, Yazzie Poo, my youngest daughter. Engage, learn, and enjoy. Ask questions, take notes, and be present. You may want to write down your questions as we go because I will be pausing between each section to answer them. This is an interactive space for growth, understanding, and a deeper connection to the work. I don't have to do the disclaimer because I won't be mentioning any spirits from closed practices this class, so I can skip over that disclaimer. So we're going to get right into the class. I feel like I haven't taught y'all in a while. So before we really talk about prayer, we're going to have to remove the conditioning that is around it. Most people were taught that prayer through religion, either through guilt, fear, or obedience, not an actual understanding. Hey, Carmel, not an actual understanding of what prayer actually is. In this class, we are not really discussing prayer as a religious obligation, as a superstition, or as a desperate request for help. We are basically examining prayer as a human function. So prayer exists because the human body, mind, and spirit are designed to communicate with energy. So every culture on earth has developed prayer independently because humans discovered the same truth over and over again. Like I always tell y'all, we all believe the same shit. We just practice it different ways and we have different vocabulary for it. So basically, they have all of these different cultures. They found intention. When focused when focused and activated, creates change, which is prayer. So this class basically reframes prayer as a technology, which you will see as the class goes on, and then it's going to be a technology that works whether you understand it or not, but it works best when you actually do understand it. You're welcome. So we're going to talk about how prayer is a universal technology. So prayer is one of the oldest energetic technologies known to humanity. Hi, y'all. I just read your... Hey, coach. But anyway, long before organized religion existed, humans used to breathe, use sound, rhythm, movement, emotion, and focused intention to influence their inner state and the world around them. Prayer basically predates doctrine, churches, temples, and institutions. It actually emerged naturally as humans learned that consciousness interacts with reality. So across cultures, prayers function the same way, even when it is called by different names, which I said earlier. It is the intentional direction of energy through the body, through your voice, and your emotional field, which we'll go over later on in the class, towards a desired outcome. Or connection, or a desired state of being, because I'm going to go over all of these different types of prayers later on. I'm going to zoom into the board when we actually get into what is prayer, so you guys can see it. But a lot of people like to screenshot the whole board, so I'm trying to leave it like this before I get to the actual meat of the class. So prayer predates doctrines, churches, temples, and institutions. I said that already, but across cultures, prayer functions the same way, even when it's called by different names. So at its core, prayer is communication. That's all it is. It is the moment when thought becomes focused, emotion becomes fuel, which is your Ashe, and energy becomes mobile. So this is why prayer exists everywhere on earth, even though it's done differently or called different things. So because the human nervous system, breath, and consciousness are wired to transmit intention, prayer is not something humans were taught to do. It was something humans remembered how to do, which I talk to y'all about all the time, that the memory of our ancestors actually lives in our DNA. And you can, which I taught you how in another class, unlock that memory. And if you want to learn how, you can go to my website that I showed y'all earlier, and go to the student companion that's called Ancestral Magic, and it will teach you how to do that. So we're going to actually get in. That was just the introduction. Let me zoom in so you guys can see the board. Thank you guys for tapping the screen. Oh, I forgot. You're not allowed to say that on here, or it'll flag you. So we are going to talk about what prayer actually is first. So what most people hear, when most people hear, not what, the word prayer, they immediately think of asking for something, asking God for help, asking the universe for relief, asking spirit to change a situation. But that understanding is actually incomplete. Prayer is not about begging for change. Prayer is directing energy. It is an act of communication between your internal system and the unseen forces that actually respond to our consciousness. So when you pray, you are not trying to convince something outside of you to act. You are aligning your internal state so that the energy can move with clarity and actual intention. At its core, prayer is nothing but a frequency. Frequency simply means vibration, and I talk about the law of vibration in almost every single class. Everything that exists vibrates, including your thoughts, your emotions, and your body. So when you think a thought, your brain produces an electrical signal, which I've taught y'all this before. The EM field that your body naturally makes with your heart and your brain. Sorry, I went on a tangent. Where was I? So your brain, your heart, and then so when you think a thought, your brain actually produces a signal. When you feel an emotion, your body actually releases chemicals that change your internal environment. So together, thought and emotion create a vibrational state, which is the law of vibration. So prayer is the intentional shaping of that vibration. You are taking your thoughts, your EM field, and you're turning all of that inward into a vibration that goes outward. So instead of allowing your thoughts and your emotions to scatter randomly throughout the day, prayer gathers them into a single focused signal. And I'm going to teach y'all how to do all this. I'm just telling y'all what prayer is right now. So this is where the nervous system comes in. The nervous system is the communication network of the body. It carries electrical signals from the brain to every single organ, muscle, and cell in your body. So when you pray slowly, you breathe deeply, you speak with intention, or you enter a calm, focused state, you actually activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of the body responsible for you feeling safety, regulation, or coherence. And if you don't know what coherence is, that is like when things are working together instead of fighting against each other. Just in case y'all don't know what that is. So in prayer, coherence is what allows intention to move cleanly instead of being blocked by fear, stress, or emotional chaos. So prayer also involves your EM field of your body, and this is your aura. But scientifically, it's called an EM field. So the heart produces the strongest electromagnetic field in the human body. And I've told y'all this, I probably said this about 20 times. It goes 6 feet out of your body. So whenever you're within 6 feet of someone, they are actually, y'all's EM fields are actually intermingling with each other. And that's how empaths know what somebody's feeling when they're close, in close proximity to them and things like that. They can actually read their EM field. So, or your auric field, or some traditions call it your spiritual body. So different cultures use different language, but they are all describing the exact same thing. It's the energetic layer that surrounds and extends beyond your physical body. So prayer actually activates this field. So when you pray, you are not just sending words into an empty space. You are broadcasting intention through your energy field, which then interacts with the environment around you. So this is why emotion matters so much in prayer. Emotion is not weakness. Emotion is fuel, especially in the Hoodoo tradition. So in scientific terms, emotion releases neurochemicals like dopamine, serotonin, which change how the brain processes information. So in spiritual terms, emotion increases energetic charge. A prayer spoken with no feeling carries no force. A prayer spoken with calm, clarity, gratitude, devotion, or focused intention carries weight. And this is not about being loud or dramatic. Keep that in mind, because I know y'all done been to church before and y'all had that one person that would pray for hours. I'm not talking about no performative things. I'm talking about actually having emotion and directing that energy into your prayer. It is about alignment. So think of prayer, and I use this analogy all the time, like tuning a radio. If the dial is off, the signal is static. When the dial is aligned, the message actually comes through clearly and you can hear it. So your mind sets the station, your emotions provide the power, and your breath actually regulates the signal. So your body becomes a transmitter. Prayer works when all these parts are actually working together instead of pulling in different directions. So when we say prayer is energetic communication, we mean that it is a deliberate act of bringing the mind, nervous system, emotional state, EM field or aura, whatever you want to call it, and spiritual awareness into an agreement. So prayer is the moment when intention becomes organized, energy becomes coherent, and consciousness speaks in a language that we actually understand. So the universe actually understands, God actually understands. So to understand prayer correctly, you'll need a clear definition that is not religious, it's not emotional or symbolic, but an actual functional definition is that, and that's why I put that one up there. So prayer is the intentional communication of consciousness through thought, emotion, breath, and spoken or unspoken word in order to direct energy towards a specific state, outcome, or alignment. It's the exact same thing as manifestation. So in plain language, prayer is how you tell energy what to do. This is where many people get confused because they were taught to pray from a position of lack. They were taught to ask for what they do not have instead of speaking from a position of alignment with what already exists. So energetically, asking and stating are not the same thing. So you're asking a question. That means that you don't have it. Stating a fact means that you have it. You have accepted it before it has even gotten to you. So asking places the intention in the future. Stating places the intention in the present. So a lot of people, when they're praying, they're asking instead of stating. That is the biggest mistake that people make when they pray. So when you pray as if something is missing, your body, your nervous system, and energy field stay in the frequency of lack. The signal you are broadcasting is not this is happening, but this is absent. And the universe, God, whatever you believe in, does not respond to the words themselves. It responds to the actual vibrational state that is behind the words. So this is why effective prayer is not phrased as begging or pleading. It is phrased as declaration. If you have been watching my music series, if you pay attention to what I'm saying in the caption, I'm talking about declaration. I say declaration a lot instead of asking. Let me close this door real quick because the wind picking up. It's knocking my door everywhere. Probably about to storm up here. Okay. So, where was I? I was telling you guys that you're supposed to be making a declaration. And I say that a lot during the music series that I put out. So spiritually, this is sometimes called speaking things into existence. And I told y'all it's the same thing as manifestation. Scientifically, this is called entrainment. And that's where two systems synchronize to a dominant frequency. That means you put two things together and it turned into one frequency and actually manifest. So when you declare something in prayer, you are setting the dominant frequency of your internal system. For example, there is a big difference between saying, please help me feel safe, and saying, I am safe and supported. Thank you. One statement keeps the nervous system searching, the other signals completion. So the body responds differently, the breath changes, the heart rate stabilizes when you speak affirmations. So the electromagnetic field becomes more coherent. And that coherence is what allows the energy to actually move. And this is not pretending. This is not denial of reality of the state that you're actually in. This is you pulling yourself into alignment with the possibility. Yes, speak from authority. I'm actually going to go over that during this class, speaking with authority. So, when you pray from a position of already, like I already have this, you are communicating certainty to your internal system. Certainty stabilizes your nervous system. Stability strengthens the signal, and then a strong signal is more likely to produce an actual response, which is the manifestation, which is the end results, your prayers being answered. So you can think of it like giving instructions. If you say, I hope this works, the instruction is weak. If you say, this is what is happening, the system organizes around that direction. Prayer works the exact same way. You are not convincing the universe. You are informing the universe. You are informing your own system of what state to organize around. So this is why gratitude is so powerful in prayer. And I tell y'all all the time that gratitude is so powerful that it is only second to love. I say that all the time. So gratitude assumes receipt, like you got it. Like, thank you, I got it. You do not thank for what you do not believe is coming. You don't say thank you for what you do not believe is coming. So gratitude is very important during prayer. You thank for what you recognize as already in motion. So gratitude collapses time in the nervous system and places the body in a state of completion. And then that state is highly receptive. So when we say that prayer is not asking, we mean that prayer is not performed from desperation or distance. Prayer is performed with alignment. It is spoken, felt, and it's as truth. Like you say it as it's already true, not as a possibility. Okay? Does anybody have any questions before I move to the next section? And I'll be going over the physical science behind prayer, which is still on this little part right here. I went over a little bit of it when I was given the definition, but I'm going to go deeper into the nervous system and the heart. They're the exact same thing, different language, lovely. Literally the same thing. Prayer is the exact same thing as a manifestation. Prayer is the same thing as a spell. They're the same thing. It's the same thing as an affirmation. Different language based on your belief system. So instead of saying, I hope, you say something like, I move toward. Yes. What do you mean? So how do you pray? We haven't got, well, I did go over how to pray in what I just went over briefly, but that's what the rest of the class is going to do, teach you how to. No, I basically just went over the definition of prayer. So if you just came in, y'all are right on time. Because you can read the definition for yourself. And then if you go and download the student companion for this class, I knew it was going to start storming. It's raining so hard. I have not finished the student companion, but it will be uploaded tonight. So after I end this live, give me an hour to edit the last section. And then, thank you so much. And then I'll put the student companion on my website. And when you download the student companion, and it's free, it's 51 pages that teach you how to pray correctly. It also has templates of each type of prayer that I have over here. I have a template. So if you are a beginner and you do not know how to pray, it will basically give you examples of each one. And then you just insert what you need into the prayer. Hey, Millie. Uh-oh. Almost went too far over. You're welcome. So we're going to talk about the physical science of prayer. So prayer does not only happen in the mind or in the spirit. It actually happens in your body too. The human body is not separate from prayer. It is the instrument through which prayer actually functions. So every time you pray, multiple biological systems actually activate at once. This is why prayer feels different in the body when it is focused and intentional versus rushed and distracted. The physical response is not imaginary. Like if you've ever prayed and you like just really got on your knees at your altar, you know what I'm talking about. That feeling is not imaginary. That's actually your body responding to the prayer. So One of the first systems prayer affects is your nervous system. The nervous system is the body's internal communication network, which I've already told you. It controls your breathing, your heart rate, your digestion, your emotional regulation. It's why you feel safe or threatened. So when someone is stressed, anxious, or fearful, the body actually enters into what science calls sympathetic nervous system. I know I went over parasympathetic nervous system. They're the opposite of each other. Okay, so the sympathetic nervous system, have you ever heard in science class, y'all remember they used to say you get in flight or fight or flight mode? That is the sympathetic nervous system. You don't want that one to activate. You want the parasympathetic nervous system, which brings you calm. That's the one that you want to activate. So if your body is in the state of your sympathetic nervous system, the body is focused on survival, not clarity. You're in fight or flight mode. So prayer performed while the body is in fight or flight mode, it feels scattered, desperate, and strained. You never want to be in that mode when you are praying. Prayer naturally shifts the body into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for your rest, your regulation, and your actual healing of your body. So this happens through slow breathing, steady focus, emotionally grounding yourself, going outside, taking your shoes off. And when you pray calmly and you're not like desperate, your breath deepens, your heart rate slows, and your muscles soften into the prayer. And this tells the body that it is safe. So safety is important because the body cannot access higher cognitive or intuitive states when it feels threatened. So this shift is heavily influenced by your vagus nerve. I tried to draw it, but it's that little piece right there. It's basically a long nerve. It runs from the brain, and it goes through your throat, your heart, your lungs, and your digestive system. It basically acts like a communication highway between your brain and the rest of your body. So slow breathing, humming, chanting, speaking aloud, and steady rhythm all stimulate your vagus nerve. This is why spoken prayer, chanting, like the call and response chanting, if y'all have ever been to a ceremony and seen somebody get the Holy Ghost or get mounted or something like that, it's because that vagus nerve, that chanting, the prayer, the singing, the call and response, it actually activates that. So, and it puts you into a trance-like state. So these actions physically activate the vagus nerves, which tells the body to relax and organize itself. So prayer also affects the heart, which is not just about pumping blood through your body. It is actually an electrical organ, if you did not know that. I told you that it is the strongest EM field in the human body because it goes 6 feet outside of your body. That field actually changes based on your emotional state. So when emotions are chaotic, your heart rhythm becomes irregular. And when emotions are calm and focused, the heart enters what scientists call heart coherence. That means everything's working together in harmony. So heart coherence means that the heart, the brain, the nervous system are all communicating smoothly. Prayer helps bring the heart into coherence by aligning thought and emotion towards the same intention. Your hormones also shift during prayer. So stress hormones like cortisol, they decrease, while calming and bonding chemicals like serotonin, they'll increase. So it creates feelings of trust, connection, and emotional safety. This is one reason prayer feels comforting and reassuring when you are praying. The body is chemically responding to the focused state created by prayer. Prayer also changes your brainwave activities, and that's when we go into the theta, the gamma, all of those. I've taught y'all about those before, and there's also a chart in the Student Companion that'll help you guys with that too. So in prayer, meditation, or deep focus, in prayer, meditation, or deep focus, the brain shifts into alpha, theta, or gamma states. Alpha waves are associated with calm and awareness and focus. Theta is associated with intuition, imagination, and subconscious access. And then gamma waves are associated with heightened perception, insight, and integration. And these are the same brain states seen in experienced mediators, healers, and people who engage in deep creative or spiritual work. So this explains why people receive clarity, insight, or you run into somebody who is highly intuitive. It's because they know how to get into those brainwave states. So the brain has shifted during prayer. The brain has shifted out of survival mode and into a state where deep information can actually surface. So prayer does not give you new information. It creates the internal conditions that allow information you already carry to actually come to the surface. So spoken prayer has an additional physical effect through the law of vibration, because sound is vibration, and vibration moves through the body's bones, muscles, and tissues when you speak. So when you speak out loud, you chant or you pray with sound, the vibration actually travels through the skull, chest, spine, and skeletal structure. This is why prayer can feel so grounding in the chest or soothing in your throat when you're letting it out. The body is physically responding to the sound waves that you're causing. So in many spiritual traditions, this is why prayer is spoken rather than silent. However, there is silent prayer, which I will go over later in the class. The vibration of sound helps anchor intention into the body. Scientifically, sound waves influence cellular activity, which I've told y'all before, and nervous system regulation. So spiritually, sound gives intention a physical pathway to actually travel through. If you didn't know, speaking and writing are actually forms of alchemy, because you're turning a thought into a physical, tangible thing. That was just a fun fact I threw in there. So when you talk about like the physical science behind prayer, we are not talking about like a belief. We are talking about biology, electricity, chemistry, and vibration. Prayer works because it aligns the body into a state where clarity, coherence, and communication are actually possible. So the body becomes calm, the brain becomes focused, the heart becomes coherent, and the nervous system becomes receptive. Prayer is not just heard by spirit, y'all. It's heard by your body first. So remember that. So we're going to go over the energetic science. Did anybody have any questions before I move to the energetic science? No? Thank you, Intergalactic. Yes. So, all of the lives are about to be posted on my YouTube. It's really my fault why it hasn't been done. My assistant has been asking me to provide her with the graphics that's needed for each one. But as soon as I get done with the graphics and give them to her, she will be uploading all of the lives to my YouTube, and you can find that into where can you find that? Oh, the link is in my bio. And so I think this is like my 20th live. So 20 different classes will be uploaded. She'll be uploading once a week until all of them are posted. And then all of the student companions that go with the classes are on my website, and they will always be free to download. Okay, so we're going to talk about the energetic science behind prayer. So, prayer does not stop at the physical body, as we already know. It doesn't stop at the energetic body either. But once the nervous system stabilizes and the heart actually enters into coherence, prayer begins to operate on an energetic level. Because now we're finna turn all of that, the thought, the intention, into actual power. So this is the layer of reality that exists beyond what we can see, but it is still measurable, influential, and responsive. So energetic science explains why prayer affects not only how we feel internally, but also how we interact with people, environments, and situations externally. Um, body prayer working in an equal arm circle is yes. Yes, and this is a metaphysical class. Welcome, the Conscious Oracle. Thank you for joining. Follow her. She is amazing, especially if y'all want some real deal hoodoo preaching. So, one of the most important concepts in energetic prayer is the heart coherence that I was going over earlier. Did I miss a... How did I learn all of this? Ooh, years. I've been studying since I was a teenager, thanks to my mom. My mom is really into this type of stuff, so she had books like this everywhere. So she bought me books like this. Even though she's Christian, she's not like your regular Christian, and she basically is the reason why I am so advanced at such a young age. So thank my mom, y'all. So let me see. Where was I at? Oh, I was telling you about heart coherence and how it relates to energetic science. So, heart coherence occurs when the rhythm of the heart becomes smooth and ordered, like I told y'all earlier. So scientifically, this coherence actually creates a strong, stable EM field, or EM signal, actually, not field. Energetically, that signal extends beyond your physical body. Like I told y'all, it goes 6 feet outside of your body. And if you are really spiritually powerful, you can actually go out further than that. So when prayer aligns through thought and emotion, the heart's EM field actually expands. It becomes more organized, and the field is sometimes referred to as the magnetic body, or if you are a spiritualist, you would call it your aura. That is what it is. So meaning the energetic layer that surrounds and extends outward from your physical body. That's what we're talking about, the auric field. So in plain language, the auric field is the energy that you carry around you all the time, 24/7. It is why people can feel calm around someone who is centered, or tense around someone who is anxious, especially if you are an empath, even without words being exchanged. Have you ever walked into a room and you just knew something was off? It's because you're feeling somebody's EM field. You're feeling somebody's auric field. So prayer strengthens and stabilizes that field. So when you pray from alignment rather than desperation, your energy becomes clear instead of scattered. Clear energy communicates more effectively with the environment. Energetically, prayer works through the interaction of thought and emotion. So thought provides direction, emotion provides force. And when these two actually align with each other, they create a measurable energetic signal. So this signal interacts with the science called, what I told y'all, I lost the word, biofield. Your biofield, my bad, went blank for a minute. So in your biofield, if you have not been to my classes before, it's a combination of your EM field, so your electrical field, your magnetic field, and the energy that is actually produced by your body. That is what your biofield is. It's your aura. So your biofield does not stop at the skin. It extends outward, and it interacts with other fields, including other people, other spaces, environments, even objects. So this is why prayer can shift the feeling of a room. You ever prayed in a room and the whole entire room, or you ever had, if you ever had anybody bless your house, like a pastor or somebody or a hoodoo practitioner come and bless your house, the whole entire environment change. So, excuse me. Prayer can also calm a tense conversation. It can bring emotional relief without actual physical contact with someone. Energy responds to coherence. And when your field becomes coherent through prayer, it actually influences the fields around you. So different cultures have named the life-sustaining energy in different ways. But all of them mean the same thing. I did give you some examples up here of life force. So in Chinese traditions, they call it qi. which means vital energy that flows through all living things. In Indian traditions, like India, I'm not calling Native Americans Indian. I'm talking about actual Indians from India. They call it prana, meaning breath or life force. In Kemetic systems, which is Egyptian, if you don't know what Kemetic is, it is known as Sakim, which means spiritual power. In West and Central African traditions, the life force is called Ashe, meaning the power to make things happen. In Hebrew traditions, it's called Ruah, which means breath or spirit. And then in Greek philosophy, it's called pneuma, which means vital spirit. So different languages, same reality. So I'm talking about, I'm going to call it life force, but I want y'all to know what I'm talking about, so you won't be lost. When I say life force, these are the things I'm talking about. So all of these traditions actually recognize that life force flows, responds, and can be directed. So prayer is one of the primary ways that humans actually learn to work with this energy that your body naturally produces. So, and how to do it intentionally, not on accident. So, from a scientific perspective, we understand that the body produces the EM signal that responds to the emotional and mental states of you and everyone around you. And from a spiritual perspective, these signals are understood as life force in motion. Kinetic energy is what I call it. But we're going to call it life force in motion. So when prayer is performed with clarity, calm, and intention, it increases the strength and organization of the energy that you're using. And I want to show y'all how to do all of this. I just want y'all to have a clear definitions of the science behind it before I actually get into teaching you how to pray. So, and this actually explains why some prayers, like when you're praying, they feel powerful, and then you might pray again another day and it actually feels empty. It's not really about the words. It's about the state that you are in when you are praying. It's the state of the energy behind the words. A real life example of this can be seen in how people actually respond to someone who prays regularly and intentionally. Their presence often feels grounded. Conversation slow, somebody who's doing it the correct way and not for show. Conversation slow down, emotional intensity softens, their energetic field is trained to remain coherent. Have you ever been in the presence of someone and they just feel light as a feather? It's probably because they pray regularly. So prayer also affects environments. Spaces where prayer, meditation, or intentional focus occur regularly often feel calmer, quieter, and more stable. Energetically, repeated, coherent signals condition an environment. And that's why I say you do it regularly. You repeat it. This is why sacred spaces feel different from chaotic ones, because there's somebody in there praying that energy up out of there. So that energy gets shaped over time, and that's how a whole space can be changed by prayer. So when we talk about energetic science behind prayer, we're talking about how intention actually becomes a signal, and how emotions become the force that signal actually moves, and then how life force, which is Ashe, responds to that alignment. Prayer is not symbolic and it's not imaginary. It is actually energetic technology that humans across cultures have discovered because it actually works. Hey, Kev. Prayer does not change you. It changes the field around you. And when that field changes, reality actually responds to it. So, we're going to go over my formula that I go over a lot. I might have to change. Nope, I forgot you can't do that on TikTok. Let me pull this back. That's what I'll do. So we're going to go over my formula. Can you repeat what you said after intentions become a signal? Lord, I hope it wasn't a because sometimes I'll be going on a tangent. So I was saying intention becomes a signal. I'm not sure what part you missed. I was telling you how emotion becomes the actual force. And then I was like, your Ashe actually responds to that alignment. And then I was telling y'all that prayer is not really imaginary. Like, people try to make you feel like you crazy for praying and stuff like that. They tell you it's fake. It's basically a technology that humans discovered across all different types of cultures. So prayer doesn't actually change you. It changes the field that is around you. I'm going to let them take a picture of the whole board. Oh, my head in the way. The whole board real quick. And then if you don't want to take a screenshot of the board, because I know that you barely can see it, you can download all of this information on my page. It's the second from the last thing that I posted right here. And it has all of this information, even more information than what's on the board, basically. So you can download this. And then after the class, you can give me an hour after the class. You're going to go to my link tree. You're going to go to the second link, which is this big one right here. You're going to go to the 3 dots at the top, which is the menu bar, and you're going to go to free PDF downloads. When you click that, I haven't uploaded it yet. Keep that in mind. I'm going to upload it like an hour after as soon as we get off of here, I'm going to edit the last piece and I'm going to upload it. You're going to go to the very last part and it's going to be there, and you can download the student companion that goes with this class. It's 51 pages of everything that I've just said plus more. And then it has charts. It breaks it down for you. For you people who don't like to read, I turned everything into charts at the end of each lesson. So you can just go through it if you don't like to read, because it's a lot. So we're going to move to the next section because I didn't see any more questions pop up. And then all of my old student companions, they're on there too. So y'all can look over them. Hold on, TikTok making me do that puzzle thing. Okay. So now we're gonna go over. I have an identical twin brother named Tommy. Then I went on YouTube. How did I get there? I was away from him for the first. Okay. We're gonna go over this part. Work equals intention plus Ashe plus activation. If you don't know what that is the formula that I created to explain why magic works. I might do another class that breaks down the formula completely, because you can actually change it to fit any tradition. You can change it to fit any type of working. As you can see, I have changed it right there. Oh, you can. I'm pointing at the screen like y'all can see that. The pink is what I told you that it means for prayer. So now I'm translating what this can be for prayer. And that is what we're going to go over. So, you're welcome. My name, Kai. My real name is Kaisha. Nobody calls me that though, but my family members. Most people call me Kai or Medusa. So, prayer becomes effective when it actually moves from thought into action through a clear formula. And that formula is simple but precise. Work equals intention plus Ashe plus activation. Most people who know me in the spiritual community call me Medusa. My friends call me Kai. through my website. You can actually text my phone through my website. Go to act like you're about to book an appointment, and it'll ask you if you want to text me, and it'll allow you to text me. Okay, so where was I? Oh, formula. My bad. So when any of these elements is missing in any form, because I told y'all, did I dim the screen or something? I don't know how to fix it. Okay, there it is. I accidentally dimmed my screen and I couldn't see. Okay, I can see all comments again. Okay. So if anything in this formula is missing, no matter what you're using this formula for, in the spiritual, whatever spiritual practice you are in, it won't work. So when all three of them are present, it's alignment. Prayer produces results when all elements exist. Okay, so intention is the actual starting point. Intention is not a wish or a hope, it is a decision. So intention actually sets the direction, and that's why it's put. So if I change this formula to prayer, it will be the physical manifestation, which is your answered prayers, equals direction plus emotion plus prayer. That's how you'll read that. So intention is the starting point. Intention sets the direction for the energy the same way a destination sets direction for a journey. So in plain language, intention answers the question, what exactly am I organizing my energy toward? What do I actually want? Are you clear in what you want is what that says down there. Just in case y'all can't read that. Scientifically, intention is focused intention. It tells the brain and nervous system what to prioritize. Spiritually, intention acts as a command. That's when your spiritual authority comes in. Without a clear intention, energy scatters. With clear intention, energy actually organizes. When we move to Ashe, that is your power source behind intention. It's what is actually fueling your intention. Different cultures have different names, which I already went over. But I call it Ashe, so it can be understood as spiritual electricity. That's what we're going to call it. This is the power. It is the charge behind the prayer. Scientifically, this shows up as your bioelectrical activity that is around your body, your auric field, your emotional voltage, your electromagnetic output from your heart and your nervous system. Spiritually, it is the force that gives prayer weight. Intention without Ashe is a plan with no power, a plan with no action. Ashe without intention is raw energy with no direction. It'll just be energy, no direction if you don't have the intention. So activation is what turns the intention and the Ashe into movement. I tell y'all this all the time. Activation is the kinetic energy. That's when the energy starts moving. That happens through breath, sound, movement, visualization, ritual actions, tools, emotional engagement. It actually depends on your belief system what that activation will be. Activation is why silent intention feels different from a spoken prayer. It is why prayer paired with breath feels stronger than thought alone. Activation actually tells the body and the energy field that the command is live. So when you speak prayer out loud, sound activates vibration through the throat, chest, and spine. Like I told y'all, it goes through your whole entire skeletal system. And when you breathe intentionally, breath actually activates channels that move energy through your body. And when you move, gesture, this is why meditation is so good too, y'all, by the way. But anyway, when you move, gesture, light a candle, shift your posture, movement actually activates physical and energetic alignment. And when you visualize, the brain activates neural pathways as if the experience is already happening. And when emotion is present, activation intensifies. Emotion supplies voltage, calm emotion stabilize energy. Passionate emotion amplifies it. Desperate emotion actually distorts it. Prayer works when these three elements align at the same time. Intention tells the energy where to go. Ashe provides the power to actually move the intention. Activation flips the switch on. And this is why prayer spoken mechanically feels so empty, while prayer spoken with breath, emotion, clarity, whatever your belief system is how you'll do it. It is not about volume or length. It's about alignment. This formula explains why prayer is effective across cultures, belief systems, spiritual languages. The words may change. The ritual may look different. The names may vary, but the mechanics remain the same. Conscious direction plus life force plus ignition produces movement, kinetic energy. So prayer is not passive. It is actual active work. It is the movement, intention, power, and action meeting inside of your body and then extending outward into the world. And when that alignment actually occurs, prayer stops being symbolic and actually becomes operational for you. We're in class, but... Oh, thank you, Divine. So, how do you apply this formula? That's probably what y'all asking yourselves. I hear all this stuff that you saying, but how do I actually do this? So, at this stage, it is important to understand where prayer actually sits in this formula. So, prayer is not the work itself. I want y'all to know that prayer in the formula is activation. Are you living it? Are you speaking with authority? Are you commanding is what that says down there, just in case you can't see it. Prayer is not the work itself. Prayer is the activation that actually initiates the work. So the work is the actual physical manifestation that your prayer is being answered. Okay? So it shows up after the physical world movement change, opportunity comes, your protection comes, your healing that you ask for comes. It's when the resolution actually makes it. That's what work is. So when people say prayer works, what they're really saying is that prayer successfully activated a process that later produced results. Yay! I'm glad to hear that, Millie. So in this formula, intention sets the direction, Ashe supplies the power, prayer functions as activation, and work is the manifested outcome. And when you actually apply this correctly, prayer is no longer treated as a request. It becomes an ignition point, that launches energy into motion. So Ashe is the prayer. It's the power source you bring into the moment. I'm sorry, Ashe in the prayer. I said is. Ashe can show up in many forms. I put emotion because usually when you're praying, it has to be emotion. So that's where the power is coming from, your emotions. So your emotional presence, which is calm, confidence. It could be righteous anger if you're angry. Deep gratitude, relief, love, certainty. They all carry a different type of charge. Each vibrates at a different frequency, but they all vibrate. So Ashe is also, if it depends on your belief system. So Ashe is also spiritual authority. It could be your personal conviction. It could be your ancestral support. If you do work with spirits, it will be your spirits. You see how it's different based on what your belief system is. Like if you were Christian, this would probably be your emotions. If you're not Christian, this would be whatever spirit you work with, whatever ancestor you work with. If you have your personal power, you have already activated, you know what your gifts are. That will be your personal power. So depending on your belief system is what it will be. You can also this could be faith too if you're Christian. Your Ashe would be your faith. But in practical terms, Ashe is why a prayer is spoken. What emotional truth feels stronger than one spoken out of habit? Scientifically, this is emotional voltage and bioelectrical intensity, which is your auric field. Spiritually, this is life force responding to intention. For example, a prayer is spoken while you feel grounded, you're centered, you're emotionally present. It actually carries more Ashe than a prayer spoken while you're distracted or unsure. The difference is not the words. The difference is the power behind them, because you're not focusing. You're not grounded. Activation, which is where prayer lives, is the act of turning intention and Ashe into motion. Activation happens through spoken words. It could be through breath control, posture, sound repetition, rhythm, movement, drumming, ritual actions. It all depends on your belief system, how you will activate or what your prayer will be. And I'll be going over the different types in a minute. Prayer is activation because it tells the body and energy field that the command is actually alive. It's live now. So silent intention alone does not always activate. You can silently pray, which I do give you some examples of silent prayer in the student companion that I will upload later on tonight. Prayer gives intention a body, a voice, and a signal. So, for example, speaking a prayer out loud, okay. Speaking a prayer out loud activates vibration through the throat, chest, and nervous system. Breathing slowly while praying activates the parasympathetic regulation, which I told y'all about earlier. Repeating a prayer rhythmically stabilizes focus and deep coherence. Placing hands on the body while praying grounds the energy into physical form. These are all activation methods, which are also I go deeper into this in the student companion. We just don't have enough time to do it on a live class. But all of this is in the student companion. So the prayer is doing something, not symbolizing something. Work is what happens after the activation has been completed. So that's the manifestation. A real world example of that is if someone prays for clarity and immediately feels calmer, their prayer manifested. If they're thinking more clearly, their prayer manifested. If they later make a better decision, the prayer was activated. It manifested. So the clarity and decision were the work. If someone prays for protection and later they avoid a harmful situation without effort, their prayer was answered. The prayer activated the field. The avoidance was the work. So prayer does not replace action, but it organizes action. It prepares the body, mind, and environment to actually respond differently. And when prayer is done with intention and it's powered by Ashe, and then it's activated through the embodied practice, depending on what your belief system is. If you pray, if you light a candle, if you do a ritual, go to a ceremony, whatever you are doing, the work will come naturally. And when I say the work will come naturally, I mean your prayers will be answered naturally. So this is why prayer feels powerful when it's done correctly and frustrating when it's done improperly, because it's not really about belief alone. A lot of people, when you learn, because I grew up Christian, I grew up Kojic, Church of God in Christ, and they never taught to apply prayer. They just say, ask for it and it's yours. That is not a proper teaching. You have to do more than ask. You have to live as if you already have it. You have to speak as if you already have it. That is how the prayer actually manifests and works. Oh, wow. So we're going to go get into the types of prayer. You grew up Kojic too? I sure did. Yes. If somebody who practices witchcraft actually, yeah, that was gunshots. That's why I was like, whoa. That's why I stopped. Because I don't know what that had. I don't know where that came from either.
Some gunshots?
Yes, baby.
Oh. Hold on. Is it?
I'm doing
is that
something.
the pub right next to our house?
Maybe. I'm doing something, baby. Okay. That's what I was hoping it is, fireworks, but I was trying to think in my head what holiday, but I guess New Year's is right around the corner, so they are selling fireworks. You got dark circles and you lost your voice. Did you get it removed, Rainbow Forest? Next week I'll be teaching a protection class. So I usually do classes every other week, but I had to cancel last week because I made it home late when I was out of town. So I will be teaching again this next Sunday, and I will be teaching protection, how to spiritually protect yourself. Yes, I know, they be getting on my nerves. So, hey, join the circle. Yes, I will definitely be here next week. So we're going to go over the types of prayers now. And this gets into more of how the prayer actually works, how it's actually activated. This is where I give y'all examples so y'all can put everything because that was a lot of information I gave y'all in a short period of time. And because I can't be on live all night, and usually these classes are 3 to 7 days if I was teaching you through Zoom, I can't tell y'all, break it down like I would in a regular class. My website, the link is in my bio, and it will be the big one that says Medusa. Let me show you. So go to my bio, and if you see that link tree that's in my bio, it is the second one right here, this big one that says Medusa. That's my website. Okay. Like I was saying before, prayer is not a single action like we were taught in church. It's actually an entire system of energetic technologies designed to meet different needs at different moments. Just like the body has multiple systems for breathing, digestion, protection, healing, prayer has different forms depending on what the mind, nervous system, emotional body, or spirit is actually trying to accomplish. So understanding the types of prayers you are using matters because each one activates the body and energy field in a different way. We're going to start with petition. I wish I had my pointer. I'll find it before next class, which is up here. You have it bookmarked. Thank you for posting my website, Melly. I just saw that. Okay. So we're going to start with petition prayer, which is a relational prayer. It's directed outside of yourself. A petition prayer is basically a relational act. It's not an internal self-command. It is a form of prayer that you are consciously directing intention towards a force outside of yourself that you recognize as having agency, authority, power within a situation. And the reason I'm talking so vague is because it's different based on your belief system. This is a petition prayer is basically when you're speaking to spirit, you're speaking to God, you're speaking to your ancestors, you're speaking to some type of intercessor, some type of spiritual guide, some type of higher intelligence. It depends on your belief system. That's what a petition prayer is. So the defining feature of a petition prayer is that the work is not being held entirely within your personal energy field. It's being formally placed into a relationship. So energetically, petition prayers move intention outward rather than inward. Instead of saying, I am generating this outcome myself, a petition prayer would say, I am placing this request into a system larger than me. That shift actually matters. I don't know what you mean by that question. Is it important to have foundational belief systems when praying? Are you saying that you have to believe in something? No. You can, I'm going to go over that. That's one of the types of prayers. You can use yourself. If you don't believe in anything, pray to yourself. So, where was I at? Oh, I was telling you why that the shift actually matters. That's where I was. because it changes the way that your nervous system actually carries the request. So that's why I tell you your intention matters, because that gives you the direction of where your prayer is actually going. It also changes how responsibility and outcome are perceived too by the universe or God or whatever you believe in. Spiritually, petition prayers acknowledge hierarchy. They acknowledge spiritual relationships and cooperation in between you and another spiritual force. It is not begging. It is a type of formal communication when you petition a spirit. You are not pleading. You are presenting something to the spirit or whatever you believe in, God. So how does a petition prayer work? So when you petition, the body is recognizing that the intention is being transferred from you to something else. The nervous system relaxes slightly because it is no longer holding the full burden of the outcome. This reduces internal tension, urgency, and emotional strain. That's when people say, give it to God. I just give it to God. I'm cool. My dad says that all the time. I give it to God. And he's like one of the most, I barely ever see my dad angry. Even if I do something, never laid a hand on me. It's because he always gives it to God. That's what I mean when I say that you're not holding the full burden of the outcome because you're giving it to something else. So this reduces internal tension, urgency, and emotional strain. From a scientific perspective, this is you're externalizing a concern through structured actions, and it lowers your stress, your cortisol levels, and increases your psychological clarity, basically. From a spiritual perspective, the act of offering creates a channel for response. Petition prayers work best when it is clear, specific, and complete. Vague requests produce scattered energy. And that's when I say, are you sure you know what you want? Are you clear on what you want when you give your intention? That is very, very important. So how do you activate a petition prayer? Jesus, take the wheel. Yes, that is that too. My dad actually says that too, himself. So petition prayers almost always include a physical activation because the body needs to register that the prayer has moved from thought to action. There are many ways to activate a petition. It depends on your belief system. The method chosen, it could be your personal belief, it could be your culture, depending on your culture or your intention. So writing the petition is one of the most common activations. When you write the request on paper, usually people use parchment paper or some type of brown paper. The brain converts intention into a motor action. And I told y'all, when you turn thought into writing, that's actually a type of alchemy because you're turning something that is unseen into a physical thing. That actually anchors your prayer into the physical body. Writing also forces clarity, which strengthens the energetic signal. Burning the petition is a type of activation through fire. A lot of people do this. Fire transforms matter into energy. So when a petition is burned, and this is how, if you want something quickly, burn it. If you want something to last long, bury it. Remember that. So when a petition is burned, it signals release, completion, and transfer. The body recognizes that the request has been sent and no longer needs to be held. If you want to pray for a job, go to my student companion and find a prayer template where you're asking for something. You can select any, actually, it depends on what your belief system is. You can select a bunch of these. And there's templates on the student companion, which y'all can download an hour after I get off of here. So I said burning already. So burying a petition is activation through earth. This places the intention into time, growth, and process. This is when you want something that lasts long. Like if you're petitioning for generational wealth or something like that, bury it. If you need some quick money, burn it. So So earth-based activation is often used for long-term outcomes, which I just said, stability and healing that unfolds gradually. You don't need it right now, but you need it. Okay. You can place the petition under a candle, which a lot of people do, which is it sustains the prayer over time. The flame acts as a continuous signal, keeping the intention active while requiring constant mental focus, depending on how long the candle burns. If you get a 7-day candle, they'll be focusing on that petition for 7 days straight, which is very powerful. And if it burns quicker than that, that means that it's coming to you quickly. Water-based activations, because you can buy the dissolvable paper that will dissolve in water. You can write the petition. You can speak over the water. Water holds memory. It holds everything that you say to it. It uses the fluidity and the emotional movement of your voice, and it carries the memory in response to the intention through vibration and sound. And then you can put your petition in the water and it will dissolve. Speaking the petition out loud, you can write it down, speak it out loud. It activates through sound and breath. The vibration of the voice engages the chest, the throat chakra, and the nervous system. Yes, if that's what you want to do. So if y'all have questions, save them for the end of the section. And the questions only can be related to the subject matter that I'm going over. At the end of the live, I will open it up for random questions because I don't want to get too distracted and I don't want to keep people up too long. So, speaking the petition out loud activates the sound and breath. I said that already. The vibration of the voice actually engages your chest, your throat, and your nervous system, which signals authority. That's when you speak with authority. So all of these methods actually serve the same purpose. They just do different things depending on your belief system. If you were petitioning God and you were a Christian, you probably would just pray at your altar. You would go to your altar, you would pray. That's using your voice. So let's do an example. A person is feeling overwhelmed by a legal situation. So they write a petition asking for justice, clarity, and protection. They place it under a candle and then consciously stop mentally rehearsing the problem. So they're not worried about the problem anymore. So once you put that petition under that candle, don't worry about it not working. Okay? So the act of petitioning allows the nervous system to release the control. Someone seeking guidance during grief may speak a petition out loud to their ancestors, then bury the written petition near a tree. The physical act grounds the request and creates a sense of support and continuity. It will continue when you bury it. A person needing peace before sleep may write their petition, dissolve it in water, and drink the water slowly. This signals the and if you want to dissolve it in water and actually drink it, use rice paper, y'all. Just FYI, don't use the dissolvable paper. Want to give y'all that disclaimer. Most people use rice paper if they want to do it that way. So that signals both the body and the spirit that the request has been accepted and internalized. In all cases, the defining feature is that the prayer is no longer being carried alone. You're petitioning something, someone, whatever you believe in. So when we get to devotional prayer, this is a prayer. It's not about asking for anything. It's about a relationship. It's a form of prayer that's not really focused on an outcome, but a connection. So devotional prayer is centered around reverence, love, respect, and acknowledgement for something greater than yourself. This may be God, spirit, ancestors, source, consciousness, whatever you believe in, a higher intelligence. Yes, the student companion will be on the website when I get off of live. Give me an hour I did not finish editing the last section. So give me an hour and I'll have it on there after the live ends. And it'll have all this information on there, plus more. So the purpose is not to change circumstances directly, but to shift an internal frequency by opening your heart up to whatever spirit, God, whatever whoever you're devoting yourself to. So energetically, devotional prayer moves energy upward and outward through the heart center, your EM field. It creates emotional expansion rather than direction. Y'all read between the lines. It will expand your EM field. That's why people use devotional prayers. So this is why devotional prayers often feel soothing, grounding, and emotionally uplifting, even when nothing is being requested. So devotional prayers work by softening your nervous system and increasing your heart coherence. And when the heart is open and relaxed, the EM field becomes smoother and more organized. Scientifically, devotion increases serotonin, which promotes emotional safety and connection. Spiritually, devotion strengthens your relationship and the trust between you and God, you and your spirit, whatever your belief system is. So devotional prayers are powerful because it stabilizes your emotional body. And when emotional chaos is reduced, other forms of prayer actually become more effective. This is why devotional prayers often precede petitions, especially if you're a hoodoo practitioner. You build a relationship with your ancestors, your spirits, God. And then after you build the relationship, then you might petition. So that's why devotional prayers are so important. So devotional prayer is activated through presence and expression, not tools. Speaking words of praise, singing, chanting, kneeling, bowing. If y'all paid attention to my music series that I have on my page, I have a bunch of devotional songs that y'all can listen to. You can sing. That is considered a prayer. Music is a common activation of devotion. Because melody actually regulates your breath and emotions simultaneously. So lighting a candle, offering flowers, you can offer water, you can offer food, you can set aside a quiet time and actually sit with your ancestors if you are a hoodoo practitioner. Those are devotional activations. That's how you activate it. So I said music, singing, praise, chanting, bowing, placing your hands over your heart, lighting a candle, doing some type of offering. Those acts are not just transactional. They are signaling reverence and attention to whatever spirit, God, whoever you believe in. The key activation element is your sincerity. Devotional prayer does not require volume or complexity. It requires emotional honesty. Truth is the most powerful thing that you can have while you're praying. So, a person is overwhelmed by life, might sit quietly and speak words of gratitude for breath, survival, and guidance without asking for anything. The relief they feel afterwards is the effect of devotional prayer regulating their nervous system. Someone else may sing a spiritual song in the morning, not to change their circumstances, but to align their heart before their day begins. That is a type of devotional prayer. That emotional alignment actually changes how you respond to stress later on in your day. Devotional prayer creates a foundation. It prepares the body in the energy field to hold power without strain. And then we get to a gratitude prayer. So, gratitude prayer is a form of devotional prayer. It's still devotional, but it's specifically centers around appreciation. It's not thanking in advance to manipulate an outcome. It is recognizing that the outcome already exists. Gratitude prayer communicates sufficiency, safety, and an actual receipt that I already have it. I done bought it already. So energetically, gratitude prayer places the body in a state of completion. Instead of reaching, the system settles. This shift has effects on both your nervous system and your energy field. And I'm the same way that the other ones, because I'm going to skip over that so these won't be too long because there's so many of them. But It's the EM field, heart, brain, all of it. All of them affect the same thing. So, how gratitude works. Gratitude reduces stress hormones like cortisol and increases heart coherence. And when the body feels safe and sufficient, energy flows easily. So gratitude prayer also collapses time energetically. Like I told y'all earlier in the class, when you think as if you already have it, time does not exist. You're not asking for something in the future anymore. You're placing it in the present. So when you give thanks, the body behaves as though something has already been received. That changes posture. It changes breath. It changes your emotional tone. Energy responds to the state more readily than a longing, than fear, basically. Because a lot of people, they pray when they're asking for something, you have that fear in your heart that it's not going to come. But if you pray as if you already have it and you're thanking God as if you already have it, that fear is not there. So gratitude prayer is activated through intention, awareness, not tools like offerings and things like that. Like I was telling y'all about the devotional earlier. It can be spoken out loud. It can be sung, written. You can give gratitude silently. You can write gratitude list. You can speak thanks during a prayer. Pause to acknowledge the small moments in your life. That is a prayer, if you didn't know that. Pairing gratitude with breath deepens its effect. Slow your breathing while you're expressing thanks. It signals safety to the nervous system. Before you pray, the best thing to do is find some type of breathing exercise on YouTube somewhere and do that breathing exercise so you can put your body in that state before you start praying. That's what I do. Calm yourself down. So, next is, thank you. I don't know what that was. Thank you. So next is affirmation prayer. It affects the same thing. I told you I'm not going to go over all of those again. So, affirmation prayer is most effective when it is stated in the present tense, which affirmation should always be said in the present tense. And you are emotionally neutral and calm. Overly forced emotion can create resistance. Consistency matters more than the intensity. Your subconscious mind actually responds to repetition and emotional consistency because it creates new neural pathways. Because I teach y'all about neuroplasticity all the time. When you repeat things over and over again, your brain actually creates new pathways. So when you say affirmations over and over again, your brain literally created a new pathway for that affirmation. So that's why it's so important to, when you are doing affirmation prayers, that you're repeating them every day. There is a prayer that I have been saying every single morning for the last, I would say maybe 20 years. Every single morning, I've been saying it for 20 years. Today is an incredible day. Success, prosperity, and abundance in many different forms have naturally found their way into my life today. And I gratefully enjoy these manifestations throughout my day and happily share these blessings of abundance with many others in order to bring happiness to their day as well. I am happy. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am secure. I am worthy. I am positive. I am blessed. I am grateful. I am beautiful. I am confident. I am courageous. I am excited about today. I literally say that every single day for the last 20 years. So find something like that and repeat it. So that is affirmation prayer. Manifestation prayer. Manifestation prayer focuses on experiencing the outcome internally before it appears externally. So this prayer does not only state desire, it combines imagination, emotion, and belief to create internal rehearsals. Energetically, manifestation prayer bridges the internal and external worlds. It teaches the body how to hold the future state in the now, basically, because you're imagining it as if it's already yours. The brain does not clearly distinguish between imagined and lived experience, if y'all did not know that. So visualization actually activates the same neural pathways as real events. Keep that in mind. So that's why visualization techniques and manifestation actually work. When emotion is added to that, the body begins to organize the behavior and the energy towards that experience that you're actually visualizing in your head. Spiritually, manifestation prayer aligns the energetic field, with a future possibility, and then it holds it for you. So, to activate a manifestation prayer, you would do it through visualization, sensory detail, emotional presence, seeing yourself calm, protected, and or successful, while praying engages multiple systems at once. So if it's often, so if you do manifestation techniques, most people do them with breath techniques, regulation techniques, or relaxed posture. They are actually meditating on the visualization, and they have focused intention. A lot of people, if you are a writer, you can write out the scenes. Like I told you, turning thought into words and writing them on paper is alchemy. You can speak the affirmations while visualizing them, or you can pray while holding a symbolic object. All of those activate manifestation prayer. So, a person preparing for a difficult conversation may visualize themselves speaking calmly and confidently while they're praying before they get to that conversation. And when the moment actually arrives, the body actually follows that rehearsed pattern. Y'all ain't never rehearsed the argument in y'all head, but y'all do it to where you want to win the argument. Switch that visualization of winning that argument into actually being calm, and see how the conversation will change. So someone seeking stability may visualize themselves resting peacefully at night while praying before bed. Over time, their sleep will improve because the nervous system recognizes that state as familiar now, because you done built that new neural pathway in your head. You have all the time. I do it all the time too. I be giving y'all advice that I don't even be taking myself sometimes. Because I will sit there and think about how I'm going to win this argument. But I'm a Virgo, though. We always got to try to win. But I need to be thinking about how to be calm. So, alignment prayer. Alignment prayer is used to bring your mind, your body, and your soul, your emotions, your spirit into agreement. So, this prayer is not focused on outcome or request. It is purpose. Alignment prayer is often used before decisions, before rituals, or before an action. Energetically, alignment prayer reduces internal conflicts. So when your internal system disagrees or your energy is scattered, alignment prayer actually stabilizes the nervous system and centers your attention. It actually reduces your cognitive dissonance and emotional overload when you do alignment prayers. Spiritually, it will clear the channel for action. So alignment prayer is something that you do before you start something. You're praying for alignment. You're praying that this goes well before you start the action. So alignment prayer is activated through stillness, breath, and honesty. Honest awareness. That's introspection. So sitting quietly, breathing slowly, and speaking words of alignment such as clarity, peace, readiness basically allows the body to settle so you can perform that ritual. It may be paired with grounding actions like putting your feet on the ground with no shoes on, placing your hands on your body to actually feel yourself, feel your pulse, closing your eyes. You're bringing yourself into alignment. You're grounding yourself before you make decisions, before you do a ritual, like I said earlier. So let me see. We're going to go to meditative prayer. I'm trying to go through these fast, but it's going kind of slow because it's almost 9 o'clock. Meditative prayers is a prayer through stillness rather than speech. It's self-explanatory. This is when you meditate and you don't direct the energy outward. You are directing it inward. But you're quieting your mind. You're allowing your awareness to deepen. This is when you do the introspection. In this form of prayer, you're not really speaking to something. You are listening to yourself. Meditative prayer basically connects you to your soul. It turns your prayers inward. It reduces stimulation. So when the body becomes still and your breath actually slows down, your brain shifts into receptive states associated with intuition and insight. This corresponds with alpha and theta brain waves that I was telling y'all about earlier, which are linked to your imagination, your memory, and your subconscious access. This is when you do your shadow work. This is that type of prayer. Spiritually, meditative prayer opens up your intuitive field. This prayer works because silence removes interference. When mental noise is actually quiet, information that is already present inside of you becomes noticeable. Who's Ef? What's EFFAH? Are you talking about Ifa? Anyway, no, I am not Ifa. I am a metaphysicist, a spiritualist, a omnist, and a hoodoo practitioner. Let me see. So we're going to go to sonic and mantra prayer. And that is just repeating the same thing over and over again. That is all that is. Buddhist monks do it. They repeat a prayer 108 times. If you ever see those beads that have 108 beads, that's how they count and they know. So that's what that is. I'm trying to go through these quickly. And then these are in the student companion too. So an activation prayer is when you use the energy, when you need something to turn on, basically. This is a prayer that is not really passive. Activation prayer actually initiates movement for you. Activation prayers work by engaging multiple symptoms at once. Your breath increases, oxygen, energy, all of that increases. Sound creates vibration. Movement grounds intention into the body. So your activation prayer is your actual action. Hold on. Dancing is that type of activation prayer. Sorry, I had accidentally scrolled too far down. So activation prayer is activated through embodied action. So speaking firmly. And when I say activation prayer, this is when you're activating a ritual, by the way. So dancing, changing postures, standing, clapping, stomping, breathing deeply, commanding an action. And you can activate your tools. You can activate mojo bags, activate movement. You can activate a ritual. Activation prayer feels energizing rather than calming. So an example of this is before you're confronting a difficult situation, someone may stand upright, breathe deeply, and speak a prayer out loud before that confirmation. That's an activation prayer. You actually activated because you did something. Before beginning a spiritual work, an activation prayer prepares the body and energy for engagement. So activation prayer is really about initiation, not reflection. If praying things like Psalms and more specifically 109, who did something to you? Okay. DM me, okay? If you want to use that scripture. That's not a petition or a surrender. It's neither one. That could fall under protection. But definitely DM me. So, and I will answer you tonight. Let me see. Elemental prayer. This is for your root workers, people who work with the elements. Elemental prayers basically use physical elements to anchor prayer into the material world. So water, fire, air, earth, they act as translators between intention and physical reality. Like I told y'all, speaking into the water and things like that, that's actually a type of prayer. That's an elemental prayer. So this prayer recognizes that the physical world participates in spiritual processes. Yes, it is. When I get off of here, and I'm talking to you, Grace and Temperance, when you said, is there somewhere you can read this yourself? Thank you, Melly. I'll let my moderators answer those questions so I can get through this because it's almost 9 o'clock. So basically, I was telling you about how elemental prayers, you're basically using physical things in the physical world to participate in a spiritual process. So the nervous system responds strongly to sensory input. So touch, temperature, smell, and movement reinforce memory and regulation. Remember that. Spiritually, elements carry symbolic and energetic meanings across different cultures. So elemental prayer is activated by actually engaging with the elements intentionally, speaking and praying over water, lighting a candle, that's fire, breathing deeply outdoors, that's air, washing your hands with intention, water again, and placing hands on the earth all count as activation when you're doing an elemental prayer. So someone needing emotional release may wash their hands slowly while praying, allowing the water to carry the intention of cleansing themselves. Most people will stand in the shower while they're doing this. That way they can wash their whole body of whatever negative energy is on them while they're praying. The best time to pray is in the morning while you're in the shower. Remember that. So a person seeking clarity may light a candle and focus on the flame while they're praying, which is called flame gazing. That is a type of elemental prayer. Boundary prayers are some of the most important prayers that you will ever have if you work with spirits or intercessors. Basically, the nervous system requires clear boundaries to feel safe. But boundary prayers also keep you safe from unwanted energies. So boundary prayers are used to establish energetic, emotional, and spiritual limits. So it defines where energy is allowed and where it is not. This is a prayer that is not really defensive in nature, but it's clarifying. You're clarifying, like you light a candle. I invite in all ancestors that mean me well. All ancestors that have my highest good in mind. That is a boundary prayer. You're telling specifically who can actually enter. Boundary prayers actually communicate authority over your personal space, your mind, your body, and your spiritual field. And they're very, very important if you work with spirits. Energetically, boundary prayers create a perimeter. And if you download my student companion about ancestral magic, there is an entire section of boundary prayers in there. Different types for different types of spirits. So if y'all download that student companion, it's on my website already. They're important. So anyway, the nervous system requires clear boundaries to feel safe. And when boundaries are unclear, the body remains hyper alert. Boundary prayers signal containment and control. It reduces stress responses if you already know that you're calling in the good things. Yes, it also heightens your spiritual authority. That is right, Jose. So boundary prayer works best when you're calm and not emotional or reactive. So boundary prayers are activated through clear verbal declaration, your posture, you're up straight, and your intentions. That's literally the activation. Standing straight, speaking firmly. That is how you activate a boundary prayer. A closing prayer. Also, very, very important if you work with spirits, because you don't want to leave anything open to be roaming around your house or wherever you are. So, a closing prayer is used to end spiritual and energetic engagement. It signals that the prayer, the ritual, or focus state is complete. Closing prayers prevent over openness and energetic bleed through. Energetically, closing prayers bring the system back to neutral. That is how you, because I tell y'all altars are a spiritual telephone. That's how you hang up the phone, with closing prayers. So your nervous system responds to signals of completion. Without closure, the body remains alert and open. Closing prayer tells the system that it's safe to rest. Scientifically, this helps return the body to a baseline, going neutral, like I said earlier, and it seals your energetic field spiritually. So closing prayers are essential for ancestral work, intercessory work, spiritual work, period. Invocation prayer. That is when you are calling something in. Invocation prayer and boundary prayers need to be happening at the same time. You need to be doing both of them in the same sentence. So invocation prayer calls in supportive forces, awareness, and higher consciousness. Unlike a petition prayer, you're not actually asking them for something. You're actually inviting them into your space. A petition prayer, you're asking an intercessor, a spirit, God for something. An invocation prayer, you are telling them to come here and materialize in the physical world. Remember that. So invocation prayer works by aligning awareness with something beyond yourself. This can increase your clarity, your confidence, or your calm if you're working with a spirit that actually fucks with you, because don't be calling random spirits. Scientifically, it focuses intentions and reduces stress. Same thing as all the other ones. It is relational, not transactional. So invocation prayers is activated different ways depending on your belief system and depending on what spirit, whatever you're calling in. So you have to be educated in your belief system to use an invocation prayer. So I'm not going to give too much information on invocation because I only teach beginner. But there is more information. So in the student companion, when we get to intercessory prayer, that is an act of directing prayer towards the well-being, protection, clarity, or healing of another person. This is when you are praying for another person. And always do this with the permission of that person. In this form of prayer, you are not attempting to control outcomes or override someone's will. You are holding space, support, and alignment on their behalf. Intercessory prayer recognizes connection without possession. So intercessory prayer works through focused compassion, emotional steadiness. You have to be doing it for the right reasons. Yes, correct. Where was I? So when you hold someone in calm, supportive intention rather than fear, or you know how people be like, I'm gonna pray for you, and they really don't mean it. That's not intercessory prayer. This is when you actually have some type of emotion or compassion for the person that you are praying for. You can activate it through focused intention and emotional containment. Actually caring. Speak the prayer out loud. Visualize the person being surrounded by stability and protection, or holding their name in calm awareness. Some people light a candle for the person, write the person's name. It depends on your belief system how you would activate an intercessory prayer. Protection prayer focuses on protection. It's not fear-based. It is based on awareness and sovereignty. So protection prayers reinforce a boundary between what is allowed and what is not. It is a type of boundary prayer. Release prayer, that's when you're releasing something. You're consciously letting something go. And I'm trying to, because I see we only have 8 more minutes. So I'm going to go through these quickly because this is the last section. Alignment prayer. Did I do release? Okay, alignment prayer. I already did alignment. Consecration prayer. So I'm going to go do the whole thing on this one. So a consecration prayer is used on a environment, a space, an object, time. A consecration can be used on an action for a specific person. Purpose. So this prayer does not change the object itself. It changes how the mind, body, and energy field actually interact with it. So the human brain responds strongly to ritual marking. So when you intentionally put your intention into something, and this is for like people who are trying to put a spirit in their oil. They're trying to put the spirit in a mojo bag. That is what a consecration prayer is. So I'm not going to go too deep into that, but I do have more information in the student companion. Manifestation prayer. Basically, did I already go over that one? I think I already did that one. I did. Did that one already. Okay, surrender prayer. Surrender prayer is the act of releasing control over how something is about to happen. I don't have any control over this. This prayer, it doesn't mean that you're giving up or becoming passive. It actually means that you're letting go. You're just going to let it go. There's no internal resistance. There's no urgency. There's no fixation on the outcome. You are surrendering it to, I give it to God. That is what it is. Giving it to God. Jesus, take the wheel. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. So, unity and collective prayer. That's when you pray in a unit. A collective prayer is a prayer performed with a group. That is what that is. There's more information on the website. There is going to be, I haven't posted it yet, but I'm about to. Okay, so breath only prayer. I want to go over that one, and I'm going to go over the thought prayer completely. So breath only prayer is when you use your breath itself as the prayer. You can look up some of these on YouTube. So there are no words spoken. There is no imagery required. This prayer recognizes your breath as the bridge between your body and your spirit. So energetically, breath only prayer moves life force without mental interference. When you are doing breath only prayer, what you are doing is strengthening your Ashe. That's what it's for. You can activate that prayer by doing slow intentional breathing, inhaling through the nose, exhaling slowly through the mouth. It also heightens your intuition. You are basically feeding your power when you do that type of prayer. Now, let's go to soundless prayer, which is thoughts. It's just your thoughts. Soundless prayer actually directs your intention through focused thought alone. No words spoken out loud, no physical action is required. It literally relies on you having clarity, presence, and steadiness. That's it. So soundless prayer is activated through still attention and being emotionally neutral. So closing your eyes, slowly breathing, and holding a single intention in your mind. And you can repeat it over and over again if you want to. This prayer is basically used when privacy is needed. Most people do this when they're living in a house where you can't practice how you want to. That's what these are for. Or you're in public. You're at a park and you just have a need to pray real quick. You do it silently. So someone in a public space may pray silently for protection or clarity. You're about to walk into a meeting. Somebody's standing right next to you. You pray silently through your thoughts. I hope this goes well. This goes well. This will go well. I will excel. I will get this promotion before you walk into an interview. Things like that.